Page 15, Sam the Pizza Man. We get an improv performance number 2. Well, look at page 14. They're giving you your improv idea number 2. Remember what improv idea number 1 was? Remember what improv is. Too many questions? Needing a beer, have a beer. Improvising, I'll say it again because it's important, is when you are changing the music in some way intentionally. Key word is intentionally. If you change the music accidentally, that's a mistake. When you start fiddling around intentionally and experimenting and having fun with it, that's improvising. Doesn't matter what you can change anything. Your improv idea number 1 in the book was dynamics. We simply changed the dynamics. That's improvising. You change something. So you don't have to do the dynamics they're saying. You can play around with them and experiment with them. That's improvising. Now we get improv idea number 2. Whew, can't talk. Let's go through this page 14 briefly, because this is really part of the whole fun of playing blues and jazz. You get to improvise. You got to learn how. I got to learn how. We got to learn this together. First line up there at the top, they're saying in rock music, you're going to play the 8th notes evenly, and they tell you you can clap it and you can play it and all this. I'm not going to clap. You clap. You don't have to clap. You could pound on something. You could just make a noise on a regular beat. The point is, it's the rhythm. Well, I'm going to play this line for you. But I'm going to play them evenly. It's like a... I didn't say it would ever be one of the top 10 melodies around. That's not the point. The 8th notes are even. That's all we're after. That's the way it's written. And go down under that. Now in jazz, the 8th notes are played unevenly. We call that swinging the 8th notes. Sometimes it's called rocking the 8th notes, but that's confusing because in rock music or a rock rhythm, you don't swing the 8th notes. They're played evenly like we just did, like I just did. So we swing them, which means uneven. Long, short, long, short. Instead of 1 and 2 and, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So here, even though the music is written straight, like this is the way it's written there for the second play line on 14 here. Does this sound familiar? It's the same notes as above. When we swing the 8th notes, as in jazz, it's this way. That's jazz. That's the rhythm. That's the one we would. So when the music is written with the 8th notes like that, we just automatically swing them. Automatically play them unevenly. Sometimes there'll be a note in the music to say play evenly, telling you play them evenly, duh. Otherwise, you just automatically swing them when you see jazz. Actually, it applies to blues also. I'll just include that now. Blues is the same way. If you see this music in a blues piece, just swing them. And I'm going to start doing that for the rest of the book. And I'll tell you about it each time I do it. Now we want to improvise. Improvise number 2. Idea number 2. We're going to change the rock 8th notes to jazz 8th notes on each repeat. In other words, when you change the rhythm intentionally, you're improvising. That's basically all they're saying. And this is the change we're going to make. So on that 3rd line down where you're playing there on 14, it's written this way. First time through. Then we repeat it, but this time we're going to improvise. Now we're going to change it to a jazz style rhythm. acoustic jamming style at the bottom for this thing. So if you have another person there, they can play this while you play these lines up above, and you can have a duet together. So it's, and if they give you the rock and the jazz, and they've written it out, the rock is just straight eighth notes, and the jazz, they've written it as dotted rhythms. Not totally accurate, because in a true jazz style, and you see these eighth notes, they're written evenly. They don't write them uneven, because it's not a triplet rhythm, like in the last line we just did. It's not a 1 and a 2 and a 3. That's not it. And it's not a dotted rhythm, 1 and a 2. It's in between. And the short note is not always the same short. It's felt. You feel this rhythm. The whole idea is to feel it. So you won't see it written. Now some books, method books, beginning books, to try and help you out, they'll write it in as either triplet rhythm or dotted rhythm. What they're really wanting is a jazz feel. So when you see it, you just feel the rhythm. Da, 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 da. One day you'll feel the short notes shorter than another day. That's okay. The point is you're feeling the rhythm, and that's what this is all about. So improv number 2 is we're going to change the rhythm from a straight rhythm to a jazz rhythm, or a swing rhythm, or a blues rhythm. Jazz, swing, and blues, those styles of music, when you see eighth notes, you automatically swing them. That's basic rule, unless there's a note in the music telling you not to. That brings us up to page 15 on this pizza thingamajigger. Got a lot of eighth notes. Now what we want to do is we want to play these in a jazz style. There's nothing tricky about the piece. Basically, I think you're in a middle C position or some such thing. No big deal. But it's written, the first line is written this way. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. Rest. We want to swing them, make it a jazzy thing. So it's this. 1 and 2 and 3. Rest. Yeah, man, real cool. That's the purpose. Now there is a repeat at the bottom, and there's a note at the top, or a paragraph at the top, actually. It's a long note. Good grief. So they're telling you to play it 2 times. Well, you got to repeat at the bottom, so of course you're going to play it 2 times. Improvising by using either rock or jazz eighth notes. So what they're telling you is you got a choice. Do it however you want. Mix them up. Any way you want to do it. There is no wrong answer on this. Just mix it up on these eighth notes. Sometimes play them straight, sometimes jazz them up, experiment and see what you like. That's improvising. It's just another way of doing it. Could be fun. Now when we do the play with me, I'm going to swing the eighth notes both times. We're going to repeat it. And I'm going to do it both times. But when you play it, mix it up. Sometimes do it straight, sometimes swing it. There's a note at the bottom, a couple things at the bottom. One for acoustic jamming. They say you can have another person, maybe a string bass player, a bass guitar player somewhere in there, play the bottom notes or the bottom line or something, maybe the whole chord. Bass guitar can play chords, yeah. An octave lower, so you're down here. Something along with you. If you wanted sort of duet again, you'd have to experiment. That's improvising. You're rearranging it. It's fun. Now for electronic jamming, they're telling you for the register you're doing some such thing with percussion, and your rhythm you do rock or jazz. If you're going to swing the eighth notes, do jazz. If you're going to play them even, do rock. If you're going to do both, who knows? To try them both and see what you think. It's up to you and what you like to hear. So I'm going to give us 4 counts, 4/4 time. Let's play this together slowly. I want to double check the notes and the rhythms. You're in middle C positions. There are some B flats in here. Be careful. Some rests. We want to make sure we got that. And the eighth notes. It's nice to include those too. 1, 2, and ready, and go, and 1, and boo, and boo. Rest. 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 Repeat. Rest.